Hello, guys. Good morning. Happy Monday. Today the weather in New York is a little bit very gray and rainy, so I felt like I need to cheer myself up and I need to motivate myself. And for many years, one of the main source of inspiration for me in every aspect, from my personal life to my creativity, have been one amazing woman that it's always hard for me to describe what she really means for me. So maybe I'm going to ask her to do it for me. But it's an amazing woman that I met 25 years ago when I was a young student at Shenkar College, Fashion College in Israel. This woman changed my life. This woman, maybe change is not the right word, but she was really kind of like helping me and leading me to go in the right direction in every aspect, in fashion, but mostly as a human being. And she's very special to me. And in these days when we all kind of like basically taking layers of covering ourselves and being more exposed, I believe that I want to share with you guys everything that kind of like brought me to the point of who I am, how I walk, how I'm getting inspired. And Leah Peretz, by far, have been one of the strongest inspiration that I have as an adult person. And I wanted to kind of like get connected with her. So we're going to wait for her to request to join us. And I would love to talk with her about fashion, travel, art, everything that we have been exposed to together, and the inspiration that she have been such a strong part of my journey as a new brand, and as somebody that was kind of like really knowing me for so many years, for basically 25 years. So I'm waiting for her to join us. So let's see. Meanwhile, just to kind of like give you a little bit more of timing, 1 second. We have some technical difficulties. So hopefully we can figure this part out. After all, here I am in New York and Leah is in Tel Aviv right now. So let's see if we can figure this out. I'm trying to help her. 1 second. Okay. I'm trying. Let's see. Sorry about that. Let's see if it's working. Okay, so I see she joined. Now she needs to request me. So let's see how it's going to work. Hi Mika, Boker Tov. I'm live, so you need to be... Let's see, Leah, come on. You need to send a request. Yes, she does. I'm trying to. Okay. Let's see, guys. Sorry. Waiting. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay, we did it. Yes. We did it. We did it. We did it. Everything is good. Hi, Leah.
Yes, very good. Yeah.
Good afternoon for Leah, and good morning, everybody here in New York. I'm happy we've been able to go through these technical difficulties, but I guess we are in art and fashion, so we're not supposed to be good at everything, right?
Yeah.
We can figure it out. Leah, I'm so happy that you join us because, I mentioned to my followers before that today I woke up in New York and it's not such a beautiful day. It's very gray. It's very rainy, and it's definitely, with everything that's going on, it's definitely affecting my mood. So I need to be able to cheer myself up. And what could be better way to do it by talking to you?
Can I show
So,
you? Can I show you the weather in Tel Aviv?
oh, don't make us jealous.
No, but it's glorious.
Of course,
It's
but we all stuck
glorious.
at home. We're all at home anyhow. So yes,
Anyhow, yeah, it just
it,
makes it even worse.
right. So Tel Aviv, the weather is beautiful.
Wonderful,
Wonderful.
wonderful. Yeah,
Leah,
and
I wanted.
well,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Keep going.
No, you go.
Okay. So no, I started to say that it's it's very difficult to me, and everybody that know me very well, every time when I'm talking about you, I'm actually stuck with describing you in the best way because there's so many. It's so meaningful our relationship, which is always very hard for me to describe who you are for me. And when I thought about it this morning, I was like, the one thing that I can say is about I feel at home when I'm with you. When I'm thinking of you, I feel at home. And more than ever, especially with what we're going through right now in this crazy world, I think the feeling of at home becomes such a meaningful way for me because, I'm raising my children. I have my children here in New York, but there's something that's always missing. And I think this is something that I'm always looking for. I get when I'm with you, when I'm talking to you, when I'm thinking of you. So first of all, I want to say thank you for that. And I would like to hear more from you. What do you think is the best way for me to describe our relationship?
I was writing to you this afternoon after I started thinking about what shall we talk about. And such experiences we had, most of them were so good, and some we faced troubles in our lives, and we were there one for the other. So I wrote to you in Hebrew, arvut hadadit, but I don't really know what it means. I mean, how to describe arvut hadadit in English. It means that we've been one for the other
Right.
for 24 years.
Yeah. I added one. I thought 25, but 24 is my number.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I think in English you say, I'm always going to be there for you. And sometimes it's like you're using it too simply, like I will be there
Yeah.
for you. But I
Yeah.
think that our relationship, it's really the core of the purpose of being there for each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like what's amazing. So I don't want to make it too heavy because I do
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
kind of like feel good about it and I want it's like I thought about our conversation today and I realized that one of the titles, you are my mentor. You always have been my mentor, and that's the one thing that I really appreciate. And I realized that for me as a designer, the connection between art and fashion started with you. Just to kind of like explain to some of the followers, we met in Shankar, and I feel like the first thing that I learned and I was fascinated by is really because my background was not, I didn't come from art or from, I was learning in a yeshiva, so you can understand, but I was amazed by being open to this, like to the art and to the knowledge of art and the history of art. And I basically realized, and I'm sitting right now, and later on I will show you, I'm sitting in front of my inspiration board for the next season. And I realized that, like a good student, for 24 years, I'm doing my job and I'm doing what my professor told me to do. And basically, everything that I touch and every starting point, it's starting with the history of art and with different cultures. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about, like, how do you see and how you defined the relationship and the connection between fashion and art?
I would like to take it even further. And I say something personal. At the moment, I'm preparing a new course, a new way to teach history of art. And it's not going to be only art, sculpture, architecture, and it's going to be everything. It's going to be psychology, it's going to be music, it's going to be cinema, it's going to be theater. I think that all the expression, the cultural expressions or the creative expressions are connected one with the other. And they are all part of our way of life, our wishes, our despair, whatever. But it's the things that really interest us. And I don't see any difference. And I know that most of the people see design as a different category than art, as though design is something which is more with the purpose and the more, I don't know, practical, and as art is something that is much more above design. And I don't see that. I think art has also function. It functions in a different way, but it functions. And so I don't differ between them. I see everything as part of our culture. Now, I must say something, because you asked me, you asked me, not now, you asked me, I don't know where, because it was maybe your night, your morning, I don't know, because of the hour difference. You asked me if there is a difference between the students now and the students the time that you've been a student.
I'm still a student, by the way.
Yeah, and I'm still learning from you as well. And now your cousin is studying with us, so it's a different generation. And you were a generation that you came with the habit of reading books, and the letters, written letters, not short messages in Instagram or in Twitter, but long texts were part of your education. You studied in a religious yeshiva, and reading books was part of your and asking questions about the content of the books that you were, the text that you were.
Absolutely.
And I think that this fall, in your particular case, but generally speaking, we had the habit to read books, and the students now don't have it. They are very well informed, very well connected, which is wonderful, because they have immediate access to sources of knowledge, which for us were not available as they are available for them now. But they don't have the habit of reading and the habit of really researching and asking questions. And so that's why you are such a good student, because you came with this habit, and we taught you to look at another source of inspiration. But you continue because you have the habit of researching and you have the habit of reading.
I feel like that one of the things that I remember, it was a moment for me, and it's really affected me, the way I looked at everything, the way I looked at fashion and the business. How? You okay?
Now it's okay.
We can't lose you right now. We need you. So I realized the importance of being a human, of having the sensitivity. That honestly, I believe sometimes it's more important than have the creativity. Like you cannot make it happen. You cannot be successful in our business, in this industry. I believe in any industry, without having this the sensitivity. And for me, just to remind everybody, when I was a child, I really wanted to be a psychologist. And I remember when I was 13, it was the first moments that I actually realized there's the word fashion. I thought that it's making clothes. I didn't really understand what fashion mean. And I remember my first interaction with a fashion designer during my preparation for my bar mitzvah. I realized it can be a job. And I remember for a while, I was kind of hesitating between I was kind of preparing myself to become a psychologist, and between the passion and the love to fashion. So obviously fashion won, and obviously I chose that as kind of where I wanted to go and study. But I realized even during my 4 years at Shankar College, and also later on every day in my career, I realized that this passion to be a psychologist and the sensitivity that I'm talking about is the most important things. And, if I may say, I feel like this is the one thing that you have been one of the first people that realized that, and I think emphasized on that and believed in me. Because, I came to Shankar as a design, for fashion, which I was thinking that I'm going to learn it. and I was surrounded with people that have the background and actually knew part of it. So it was a bit shocking, but I think the fact that I had people like you that believed in me and realized that, you know what, maybe this guy has something that others won't be able to have, and the other part he can learn. I think that was one of the most meaningful for me, meaningful things that affect my whole life.
Shall I quote the
Yes,
sentence
please.
that I say to you in the entrance exam?
Yes, please.
Yeah, because your entrance exam, you know, entrance exam was of a yeshiva bucher. It was not of a fashion designer, but I
But
saw
my mother told me that I'm the most talented boy, and I
she was
believe, and I
she was
believed
right.
it. I simply believed her.
She saw something, yeah, she saw something. But then I said to you that I'm taking you because you're going to make it. So it's better that you will make it with us and
And
not
listen,
without us.
the only reason that I'm working so hard and trying so hard is because you told me that, and I can't disappoint you.
Thank
Do
you,
you know how
Yaro.
much? Do you know how much pressure is it for
No,
24 years?
no, please.
Every day I'm like, okay,
Please.
but I told Leah I'm going. She told me I'm going to make it
Yeah,
happen, so I
yeah.
can't give up.
You know, I wrote for myself a text about you as a designer.
Okay,
Yeah. And if you wish me, I can. If you wish, I can read it. Would you like that?
no boundaries. Go
Okay.
for
So
it.
I have to
Yes.
read. I have to read it because I want to be sure that I don't skip. Let us put my pink glasses. Okay.
Very chic. We all
Yeah.
need honestly, we all need pink glasses in this point because we need to see the world in the different lens. So
Yeah.
we need to
We can
borrow your pink glasses.
we can talk about it. So I wrote about you. In the oceans of cheap, ready-made clothes, made of unpleasant and sometimes dubious materials, Kobi shines with his unique designs, excellent fabrics, and attention to details. Kobi's garments are made with soul and touches women's souls. They are not a fad, but stay forever with us. That shows integrity of the maker and the wearers. I will not wear too tight, too short, too revealing clothes. You can be feminine in many ways, not necessarily the supposedly sexy, vulgar way, and Kobe does it.
Wow. So
You
first
like
of
it?
all, I love it. First of all, please send it to me, and please send it to me so I have it.
It's
But you
it's
know,
it's this
I
it's
love it, and
pink.
it's pink. So we have like a thread, a common thread today.
Yeah.
It's about pink. I totally see it. No, I really appreciate that, and I think that as you know me on a personal level, I think that I surrounded myself with strong women. I surrounded myself with people that really make me focus, sharp, and really you, understand the woman that around me. And honestly, it's so easy to get lost in
Yeah.
fashion with losing the focus and being really because in the end of the day, as a human being, we all want to please. We all want to we all want
Yeah.
to make people to love us. Especially me, I'm addicted to love. I need to be loved. And I think that when it's coming to fashion, and this is where I feel so lucky that I started my own brand later on in my career, because we all need to be loved as a student and later on as a fashion designer. And sometimes, and I think that's a very crucial moment right now that's happening because businesses are difficult. It's a crisis that's happening right now. And I think in the end of the day, it's truly about the relationship that you have with your customer. I think having all the fashion editors, we love them. They're inspiring us, but they also have a big responsibility of sometimes being able to move the focus as designers that really want to please everybody. I mean, I know I'm your favorite, okay? But you have other designers that you are surrounded with, and you know the pressure of what we're dealing with, all of us, that we want to always get a good critiques. We always want people to say amazing things about us. But at the end of the day, the person that really need to love what we're doing is the person that choosing the garment. They're choosing us and want the designer to be part of their life. And I feel so lucky in a way that I grew up to kind of like understand the beauty of fashion, but also fall in love with the business of fashion. And to me, it's about a relationship. And during my 24 years in the business, 20 years in the business, I realized that many designers don't like their customer. If I may say, most of the designers don't like the customers. And I love my customers. I know her. She know, even if she doesn't know me personally, she feels that somebody really understands her and somebody care about her. And for me, my job is to bring the best of each one of you. And on a personal level, when I see you wearing Kobi Halperin and wearing something that I did, you stand differently. You stand differently.
Can I show this one?
Of
Oh,
course.
you
Oh
see it?
wow.
You see it?
Yes. It's all about the movement. It's all about
Yeah.
it's all about something that makes you smile. And
Yeah.
we all know the best accessory is smiles. So, I feel like that to me, I'm so thankful for this pink note because I truly believe it summarizes my philosophy. And you know what? I don't want to use big words because it's basically the purpose of what I do. And what's really difficult for me in these days, and that's why I'm so thankful for the opportunity of talking to you today, I miss my customer. For me, big part of my job is basically travel the whole country, the whole world, and be able to be exposed to my customers. The women are very opinionated, you know, they are very honest. They want to say everything what they feel, and they want you to know exactly what they think. And I so thankful for that because it's really allowed me to learn. And again, back to 24 years ago, I'm still a student and I never want to finish with that period. I want to study every time. One of my biggest joy in the year, which unfortunately it's might not happen this year, is coming back to school, backing back to Shankar, and I do it for the last 13 years, and it was, to me, it's the opportunity of giving back, and more of it being able to connect with the new generation, to see how people think, giving
Yeah.
them some of my skills, if I may say, or giving them my opinion, but most of it to kind of like be able to be connected. It's an amazing experience, and unfortunately, this physical connection, that to be in the same space, to be in the same place, is something that at risk right now, and I'm really struggling with it right now, not being able to be in the stores, and that's why I was like, you know what, Kobe, maybe it's time to take all the filters and being able to be exposed, share with my followers, and mostly for my soul, to be able to be connected with the people that I admire, that I love so much, that I'm so connected to, and to be able to express myself to my followers and get the same needs that I'm getting when I'm in the stores in a different way until things are going to change again. So thank you for allowing me to do that. Leah, I have
Can I
so many.
can I say something?
Of course.
You say that you study all the time. You know that now, these days that we are at home, and I'm longer than the others because I came back from Italy at the end of February, and I was at home for 2 weeks, and then I started the other self-isolation. So I'm almost 2 months in self-isolation. It's a lot of time. And I decided that I'm going to make the best of these days, and it's not easy. But one of the things that I'm doing is that I started studying online courses. I picked from the list of the Ivy League. It's called EDX, and there are 450 courses, and I picked two of them, and I'm studying every day. I take a lesson.
It's
Today,
amazing.
I enlisted to a course by Tel Aviv University. So I want to do make the best of these days. But I wanted to say also something about clothes in these days. I know everybody talks about pajamas and the training and the this and that. for me, it is so sad to walk into my dressing closet, dressing, and I see all my clothes hanging, and they're so lonely, deserted, really deserted. It hurts me to go in because I can't wear my clothes. And I love fashion. I love clothes. It's dressing up, going to work, going to meet people, going to events is part of the experience. And now I feel like there are orphans, neglected orphans in the closet, and who knows what
my mission is forcing the loved ones to get dressed. So I'm happy that I was doing it to you today.
Yeah,
I just
no,
feel like,
I
it's
put
like
even perfume.
they shouldn't be left, because the truth is we're dressing up first of all for ourselves,
Yeah,
not
that's
to
true.
impress anybody else. It's about, as you mentioned, about our soul. It's about ourselves. So I feel like even in a situation like that, we should find a reason to get dressed. And I
Yeah.
think the way you're thinking, the way you seeing things, it's affected by getting dressed and feel good about yourself. So I think that's important. So let's please
That,
keep
that,
doing. Please
definitely.
keep.
No, I'm teaching online. I'm teaching a course online myself. I'm lecturing online. I've learned to use Zoom, and I'm teaching with an architect. We're teaching a new studio online, and every Tuesday, 2 a.m., 2 p.m., I'm dressing up. I'm putting makeup, perfume, as though I'm imitating my walk to the classroom.
So at
And
least your
yeah,
husband
it
is.
makes a different, I don't know, it makes a different way. I don't know, I'm becoming the professor. I'm becoming the professional,
Yes.
and not somebody is dragging it home with,
But I think
with the pajama.
that's exactly summarized what fashion is all about. It is about, like, it's part of who we are. I was like, I'm looking at the boards, and I want to show you later on the boards, but I want us to bring some of our best memories, because the truth is that, when I try to put a list together of where we have been together. So let me just start it with the Paris, of course. Istanbul. Paris was our first trip together, actually, as a student. So this one
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going like 23 years ago. Okay.
yeah. But
So
then when
just,
you went to the Premiere Vision,
yes. So just think
every
about
time you
Kobe.
met,
Just think about Kobe from Netanya going to Paris. And, you know, just not to be funny, but Netanya is kind of like Paris of Israel. And I've been in Paris before, but the Paris that I saw before this trip and the Paris that I was exposed with you was a whole new universe. So Paris was the first love and the first experience ever. And then we've been together in Istanbul, in the Korea, South Korea,
yeah.
of course in Israel, which where the heart is, Mexico, Colombia, which we can talk a little bit more about, because that was
Let's talk about Colombia.
Let's talk about Colombia. Every time when
The ambassador is sitting listening. Yeah.
I'm, spending a lot of time in Miami, with our customers, and there's a huge community, Jewish community, that live in Bel Arbor in Miami area, and all the time I'm so proud of, like, Colombia. I have been in Bogota, and I was not just in Bogota. Have been able to be escorted by my mentor and help me for a second, the ambassador of Israel in Bogota. So it was an amazing experience. But there was it's again, to me, it was inspiring in so many levels, starting with seeing you there. So seeing a person that I know so well, but seeing her in a different environment, and it was just amazing. So let's start with you. You tell me about your memories about Bogota.
Wow.
With
It
me,
was
because you have so many memories about Bogota. You lived there for how many years?
no, no. I'll just say some words. First of all, I've been only once in Latin America before going there. I've been in Brazil, and that's it. And you fly, you land, in the middle of the night, in the darkness. You get to a hotel, you get up in the morning, you open the window and you look and you say, this is going to be my home for the next 4 years. I didn't pick the home, I didn't do anything, it's just, we were led into it. And I've just started learning Spanish before coming, but then I continued on. And the fact that I could speak Spanish to the point that I was interviewed in television, reading texts, talking to people, learning the culture of Colombia. And then I started learning the culture of Latin America in general, and now I'm running a course about it. 5 weeks after arriving to Colombia, I started studying in the university, Colombian art. And then later on, I started, it's called transcultural studies in Spanish. And
Leah, just 1 second. We need to stop for a second because I don't want to get in trouble. We need to give our love to Moti. Of course, because if we're not going to give him the right attention, I don't want to get in trouble. I'm scared. So just, Moti Raif, we love you. We love you, and you are part of the...
Roy is there also.
You're part of the pyramid, okay? We are 3, and there is no doubt who is in the top. We are all together, okay? We love you.
Anat, yeah. All our friends. Yeah.
No. Actually, let me talk about something for a second. There's so many reasons for me to say thank you for you, but one of the things that I actually appreciate the most is the people that you introduced me to. And I feel like you changed my life in so many ways. Through you, again, we're going 24 years, but you never stop. I feel like you're doing the filters, you're checking people around, and when you find a diamond, you don't keep the diamond to yourself. You're sharing this diamond with me. And it's starting with students, which that there's going to be a good connection, 25 years, Moti correcting us. But it's starting with people that are really important in your life. And it's just amazing that we have such a community that you create around us. And for me, it's like I'm so thankful because the people that I really connected the most in my life today, besides my own family, are people that went through you. You did the selection, you did the filters, you find the diamonds, and you share the diamonds with me. And I so appreciate it. And I don't want to mention name because there is not a lot, but there is a very strong, amazing people that honestly I'm thankful every day that that they are part of my life. And it's because of you. Yeah. And, you mentioned...
It's quality over quantity.
Absolutely. And, but sharing, I'm always telling my children, sharing is caring, and it's a big word. And to be honest, as humans, not too many of us are doing it. And I don't want to be too heavy, not weight-wise. I'm talking about emotionally. I don't want to be too heavy, but I truly believe that the fact that that you're sharing, it's not so common. It's not common. And I think that's what it's amazing if all of us can share more. The fact that you shared, it was really meaningful. And I can't not say that with another part that it's extremely important for me is like, during our journey, many people disappointing you. Even if you find diamonds, sometimes the diamonds are done by they're not real. They're done by the laboratory. They're not real diamonds. And it's taking you a while. Yes, synthetic. And it's taking you a while to realize that because they're shiny and they're beautiful and they're big size and they're great, but they are not real. And what I feel so lucky and so thankful is that you have been there for me all the time. You have been there for me, and not by what's good for you, what's right. And I think
that... Who is the shiniest? Of course.
I don't know. The problem is like, yeah, of course. Moti, it's all about you. There's no question about it. last night, I'm like, okay, last night, I need to be honest. Last night, I'm like, okay, I need to promote and I want to make sure everybody know we're going to be on this
Yeah.
live chat. So, it's like I'm starting to be good in technology. So I am, I'm looking at your face and then it's showing me all the pictures that I have of you. Because, I think I have like 20,000 pictures. So it's hard to find it. But there is a way by albums that you can look by the face. So I found your face and then it's showing me all the pictures. So I'm going through all the pictures. And, Kobi, originally I wanted to be just you and I.
But you.
But then I finding the picture of the three of us and I was like, Kobi, put your ego aside and do the right things. And I was like, we are three. So I put a picture with Moti. And then I realized all the pictures that I have of you with your friends that are my dear friends. And again, it's hard for me not to mention names, so I won't. But it's amazing. It's truly amazing the journey that we went through and the memories and the relationship that we have been able to build up with our community. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So back to Bogota.
Yeah, well, I was saying that I studied Spanish and this opened doors for me, and it opened doors to learn the culture. And the people in that time in Bogota, it was 2003, 2007. The place was not, there were no tourists. It was quite dangerous. As you remember, the armed car and the bodyguards and everything. But in spite of that, we traveled the country. I decided that we are going to see all the places where Garcia Marquez wrote his books. We've seen all of them. The only one that we didn't was the place where he grew up with his grandfather, because it was still dangerous to go there and we were not allowed to. And it was such an experience to read all his books, to go to the places where they were written or they were written about. And people were so nice to us. They accepted, they received us like family. And we traveled a lot also in Latin America, and also the job that we did, as I was cultural attaché and my husband was the ambassador, and we were one of the most prolific couples in Colombia at that time. So we did a very good job for Israel, and also for the reputation of what it means to be an Israeli and a representative of the country of Israel. It was amazing. It was
So
really,
for
really
us, I remember it was an extremely inspiring trip. But I'm going to jump to the next trip that was basically the most emotional one for me, because it was the first inspiration for my own brand.
Yeah.
So when we knew that I'm going to start my own brand and I start working on the collection for that, we decided to go together with Sagit and with Yair. We went together to Mexico City. And for me, it was an amazing, incredible source of inspiration. Let's basically summarize also the way I'm working as a designer, period. It's always about mixing my own heritage and I'm calling it my treasure box, from where is my roots and where I'm coming from, together with searching after another culture. And I think that the most important thing that I learned from you, I'm giving you credit for everything, you realize that, is that it's being respectful. We're being respectful for different cultures. I feel like what I really dislike is when designers or creative people taking advantage of cultures without being sensitive to that. That's another exhibition that we saw together in Paris about colonials. Yes, but I feel like, to me, it's really something that stayed with me, because I feel like we need to look at other cultures without being arrogant, with being like, with being kind of like really see the beauty and to understand where they're coming from, what's behind it. So the trip to Mexico City was incredible. I found so many similarity between the Jewish traditional and with the Mexicans' traditions also. And I have this amazing inspiration board, and the collection was the first collection that I did, and it was kind of like starting from our trip together in Mexico City. And I know since then you went a few times more when I didn't go.
No, because my husband grew up in Mexico,
Right.
and I was contaminated with his love to Mexico, and yeah, it's Mexico now for me is yeah, it's I just been there in February. This February I've been there, but it looks now years ago, years ago.
Yeah, I
So,
just want to like for a second, just to
yeah,
viewers, I just want to share with them, for example, because we're talking about art and fashion and traveling. I want to be able
yeah,
to show them, like, because I'm just exposed to it right now since I'm at home, but I changed my living room to my studio. I want to
yeah,
share with you and with them for a second what I'm referring to, okay? So just
yeah.
like, because I'm working on the next collection right now, and there's two things that are happening. One thing is about exhibition that you told me about Kyoto to Catwalk, which is in
Ah,
the
yeah,
Victoria and Albert Museum. So just amazing how basically, you're starting with inspiration that you see in one of the most amazing museum in London. But of course, as somebody that need to do a good job because his professor is checking on him, I took it seriously and I went all the way to Kyoto to actually get inspiration from the original source. So that was one thing. And then just to share with another thing that I want to share with the viewers that in one of my trips to Boston, I have been in the Institution of Contemporary Arts, and I fell in love with this art work. It just was amazing. This is done by Inka Shonibar. Do I say it correctly? Inka Shonibar is an African
Shunibar.
that live in London. It's a beautiful work that is kind of like
Yeah,
all done with this like amazing
yes,
library that's covered with all these amazing African textiles. So we always need like a starting point, something that's really kind of like cutting your eyes and like you just like really excited about, and he's talking to you, and then this is always the starting point. So that was kind of like my moment in the museum in Boston, and the
yeah,
next thing you're starting your research, and you're really kind of like going from there into print, textiles, embroideries. So again, like for me it's like I feel like I'm still a student and I'm still doing my job, but it's always kind of like I just want to explain a little bit more, like why what I learned from you and what I'm referring to art, traveling, and fashion. Why all of these pieces together are extremely important, and why I always struggling with calling what I do art because it's fine. I feel a little bit like arrogant by saying that. But since you mentioned it in the beginning of our conversation, I just want to make sure that people understand exactly the process and kind of like what we're going through. And again, I'm always saying that designing clothes is not just about making clothes. It's about telling a story. And to be able to tell a story, you need to have the right experience, you need to have the right inspiration, you need to have the right content to be able to put it out together. So sorry, I just wanted to kind of like share with everybody because it's just in front of me, the process.
I wish I could be there. I wish.
Me too,
Yeah,
believe me, me too. But at least a few months ago, we have been together in New York,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm always embarrassed because the only person that can force me to go, there's two people that can force me to go to museum in New York, and they are not from New York. So I feel like it's always like amazing to me. But we had an amazing moment in the Whitney, an amazing. And again, to me, I always when I'm in museums, I enjoy more to view the art through other people experience. It's just
yeah,
giving it another dimension, which sometimes it's more interesting than just seeing it by myself. So I'm kind of like following people that I know and people that I don't know. It might sound weird, but that's what I do. And it's just amazing to me to see also the interaction between the viewer and the art, between what they're wearing and the art. I think there's a reason when you come into a museum and there's so much works, there's so many things to
yeah,
see. I think each one of us like getting connected to something, and I think this connection happening for a reason. So
yeah,
for me, from a visual point of view, that's the magical moment that cutting my eyes, and I'm kind of like so memorized by that. It's like, okay, this is the moment when I see the viewers and the art together. So tell us a little bit more about your favorite museums and your New York experience.
To be honest, I discovered the Brooklyn Museum with you. Somehow I never went
Did we went
before.
together with Ariella?
Yes, it was the first time we went with Ariella to see Gautier.
Yes.
To see Gautier, which was amazing, which was for me a revelation. I didn't appreciate him so much until I saw the exhibition. He's an amazing designer. And then we walked through the other halls of the museum, and I discovered the area where they have this feminist women
Yes.
area. Amazing. And every time I go now to New York, I go to the Brooklyn Museum because they're always having, we saw the Frida Kahlo exhibition, and always something interesting is going on there. We love the Metropolitan because it's what I was talking about. It so many aspects of culture put together in the same cultures, not only aspects of culture, but cultures put together in the same museum. Amazing. We love the Whitney, the new museum. And we love to have lunch at the Neue Museum, as we feel like we are in Vienna of the turn of the century, eating schnitzel and whatever.
It's always, no, I didn't want to go there, but obviously it's all about food in the end of the day.
We do it very well, both of us.
Yes.
And what else we love of course, the MoMA. This time when I was in the end of December, we went to see the MoMA after the renovation.
Yes.
And it was so interesting. You remember the textiles, a small exhibition?
Absolutely, yes. Yes.
Wow, it was so good. So we don't go always for the big exhibitions. Sometimes we pick small ones. I always make a research before I come to New York, and then we went to FIT to see two wonderful exhibitions at the FIT, which they always do wonderful exhibitions. One of them was about uniform, was fantastic. And so we try to see what's interesting for us, not always for everybody else. But I remember in Paris, this exhibition that you mentioned, it was called in French, I won't say in French, I say it in English. It was called Paintings from Afar, from far away. And it was wonderful. It was in the Musée Branly, which is a museum. I'm not so keen about the idea of having an anthropological museum in the 21st century. I think to divide between cultures and to put third world cultures in another museum, to me seems a little bit problematic, but still the museum is amazing and the exhibition was very good.
For me, I remember, for me, like obviously that became an inspiration for the collection, but for me, it's always starting with a moment. And this moment happened in the same trip when I arrived to Paris. I was in the airport and I saw this amazing African woman. Of course, Kobi, the first thing I looked at what she's wearing, the color combination. I have it I remember it exactly. The way she was dressed was just phenomenal. Gorgeous colors mixed together and so proud, The next thing I realized, she's holding a little boy and she's escorted by a policeman. And it breaks my heart. Thinking about today, unfortunately, with everything that's happening right now with the virus, some big issues that we have in the world are actually, we don't talk about it right now. Yeah. But the immigration, and actually when I've been in Boston in this museum, it was also a huge exhibition about immigration and about, this like such a challenge, problems that people trying to have a better life. And in a way, I'm thinking about that right now, and I'm thinking about what we're dealing with right now, that's basically forcing us to stay where we are and separating us. It's just like, I think it's all connected together. But this collection was such a meaningful collection for me. It was 2 spring ago. It was such a meaningful collection for me because it was about this woman that I have in my memories, that although the most challenging moment that she dealt with, she looked so proud and she was so beautiful and so colorful. And again, I can't not connect right now the dots between, we're talking about immigrants and we're talking about these main issues, And in the same times right now with the virus that's basically really forcing us to stay apart. It's just really difficult.
I would just want to say that for me, the turning point regarding Africa was when my husband was ambassador at large in Senegal. And beside going to Egypt years ago, it's not the same story. It's the sub-Sahara country. It broke our heart. We went to the place where all the slaves were gathered together and sent from a door, which is called now the door of no return. And we saw the conditions, we saw a miserable museum, but still the images, everything. This for me was a real turning point on the way that I look at the world, a lot of the art now. And I made a point to put it also in the curriculum of the course that I teach about Latin American art and about Black people who were brought by force, millions and millions from Africa. So when you told me that you think about Africa as a source of inspiration, you remember I sent you some images. It's something that at the moment is very interesting for me personally. So that was my turning point. Yeah.
No, I think that every time when we went together or you went to the Biennale, I think that we realized one thing is regarding art, that everything is becoming about handcraft and these kind of like qualities. And that's something that makes me so excited as a designer, because this is what I believe that everything that we're doing today is better than the past. But when it's coming to making garments, when it's coming even to kind of like create, when it's coming to create art, we lost the qualities that we used to have in the past. So for me, in a very humble way, I feel like always like I'm looking at the history, with so much respect, and I'm trying to bring it back in a contemporary way. Like everything that I go is I always look for this beautiful antique swatch of fabrics or textiles, and with all the respect and admiration, I'm like, I want to bring it to life, and I want to bring it back in a contemporary way. And the same thing with art. I feel like we miss this kind of like qualities, and I think honestly sometimes with modern art, it went too far into something that I cannot appreciate as much, because it doesn't really have the qualities that's inspiring me.
But when you talked about textiles, it reminded me that when I was in Senegal, I wanted to buy fabrics from Senegal. And the driver took us to a shop in the Muslim quarter. And it was amazing because you cannot buy fabric by meter. It's already cut to two sizes. One size is the piece of cloth that you wrap around the body, and the other size is the piece of cloth that you wrap around the head. And
I have the same experience actually in Tokyo and Kyoto this time.
Yeah, of course.
I have the same experience because I really wanted to buy some fabrics, and it's basically they're only selling it by the size of the kimonos, because the way that the textile is designed is in the same way. So it was interesting. I have the same experience. It was interesting. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, to me is that there's a common thread in every culture. And I feel like that's where we're becoming a small village, basically. It's all very similar as a human being. Wow, it was such an amazing, honestly, it was an amazing time.
What they ask me? They wrote, Leah, please make a tour of your home.
The only dangerous things you need to make sure that your husband is dressed up and all of this kind. You need to be careful.
No, it's really polished up. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the beauty of that. But I feel so. It was such an amazing opportunity to kind of like talk together and share it with all of us. I think that the nice thing is like, I don't really think that we really care so much about anybody out there. It was about us having our conversation, and it's not really different than when we're talking to each other offline, just directly. So I really appreciate that I was able to kind of like really expose my friend expose what's inspiring me to the rest of the people. What do you wish for us? What do you wish for us for the future?
For you personally,
No.
or
For us as a for the world, what do you think will happen? What are you wishing for after this crisis of the corona? What do you think is happening?
I'm, as you say in English, I'm whistling in the dark. I can't see what will happen, but it is, I don't know. I wish a better world. I wish that we will be more tolerant to one another. I wish that we will be more, less shallow and more deep in our relationships, in our thoughts. I don't know. I wish for you, Kobi, and also for my children, which are more or less your age, and my grandchildren and your daughters. I wish them a better world.
Yes, I think that to me, the best thing that happened with this disaster is that I've been forced to stop. I've been forced to appreciate what I have. I've been, I have the opportunity of learning my
Yeah.
children and to appreciate my family. So I think that there's always a positive way of looking at things, and I hope that we had this opportunity of like really appreciate the diamonds around us, as we talked about, the real one, and I hope I believe that us as a human being, uh, life is bigger and stronger than anything else. So I can't wait for us to kind of like get dressed again. I can't wait for us to live our lives again,
Yeah.
get together, be together, travel the
Yeah.
world, being inspired, love fashion, and I really want to say thank you. I mean, I really want to say thank you. Our relationship, I'm cherishing it, and I appreciate that so much. You are important for each one of my families. Sagit, come say hi. 1 second.
Hello.
Yes,
I
where
was
is it?
waiting.
Hi,
I was
Sagit.
waiting patiently, for
Yeah.
all this conversation to be over.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
So I
don't
Wow.
can
know.
say
And
hi.
we cannot. Here is
Is
Yair.
Yair, the maestro,
We allowed to
The
kiss.
maestro.
the
Amazing
maestro.
conversation you had.
Thank you. And just to show that you're always close to us, your
Oh,
beautiful art is
wow.
part of my
Wow.
inspiration also. So I'm always, again, to me, as we talked about, I just love that I have stories, and my best friends are always very close to me. This is Ariela's artwork also. So I feel like
Yeah.
I'm always,
Surrounded.
and yesterday I did a whole stories about Anat. Uh,
We should remind, I mean, we should talk about her.
Yes, we will talk about it. So I had an amazing moment with Anat talking about her artwork. So again, for me, it's always about, as I said, it's about friendship. Again, like I was putting it in a very simple way. It's about travel, art, fashion, and friendship. And I think that's the best way to summarize our conversation. Leah, I love you so much. Please take care of yourself, your family. Send my love to all your children, everybody. And we're going to have a conversation again.
I don't believe I'm going to say something in Yiddish.
Oh my God! Now,
You
now I'm
believe it?
scared. Now I'm scared. What are you going to
No,
say?
no. You're a mensch.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. And I just want to make sure that we also mentioning Shankar, because
Yeah,
that's our home. And I feel like that's
yeah.
what's connecting all of
It's all
us.
started.
It's all started in Shankar. And I want to kind of like, for all the people in Shankar, I want to know that you are our home, and you're connecting all of us together. And I feel like I'm always the live advertisement of Shankar. I think as a fashion schools in Israel, okay,
Role
which
model. Role
uh,
model.
in Israel, I think that it's such an incredible school and such an amazing school that I have that I was able to be part of it. But since then, also visiting it every year, and it's just an amazing, amazing school, and it's school for life, not just school for fashion. And I
Yes.
think that's what's amazing about that. So
Thank you.
Leah, I love you, and we will talk soon. Okay?
Yeah. Bye bye.